The medicine ball slam. I really like the medicine ball slam as a functional exercise, and I like to tweak it in as many ways as I can to get as many of these sling systems involved as possible, and to stretch as many of the fascia lines as possible I can, and to make it as functional as possible. So one of the things you don't want to do with a medicine ball slam is just using your arms to slam it down. You want to be using your whole body. So you want to come up onto your toes, stretch back. So now we're getting this anterior chain involved, and then we come down, we close it, and we get the posterior chain involved. So we're opening up one way, and then we're closing it down. So how do muscles work? They work with load and explode. So we load the anterior chain and explode. So we load it and close it down. So that's one way. Another way, we step back. So as we step back now, you see as I step back, I'm getting more load on this chain, but through the right hand side, through this right hand hip, through this right side hip, sorry. So I'm coming back, and what I'm going to do is I come down with a slam. So I'm stepping back on this right hip, and I'm going to come down, raise the heel, and I'm going to stretch out this posterior chain. I'm stretching it in a dynamic way now. So I'm stretching the anterior chain, loading it up when I start, and then I'm coming down and stretching out the posterior chain. So we're getting two movements in one. So we come back, anterior chain, stretching the posterior chain. My back's completely flat. I'm not leaning like this. So again, put the anterior chain, then the posterior chain. And we'd obviously do that both sides. Then from then, we can take the same exercise where we're coming back. I can put a bit of rotation into it. So I come back this time, I'm just going to rotate around, and as I slam, I'm going to do that same slam, loading the posterior chain, stretching the posterior chain in a functional way. So I come back with rotation, and then slam down. So here I come back, I'm rotating around, and slamming down. Come around, and down. Then I'll use the obliques, the sling system, this rotational system as much as I can. So I come down, still getting that, finishing with that stretch on that posterior chain. Can then come up onto our toes, stretching this line, come down. So now I'm getting a good loading in this glute. It's now functional. You come up to the toes, come down, toes, come down. We obviously do that both sides as we do with all of them. So there's a few variations there. I can turn it into a transverse lunge. So now I'm getting hip extension, external rotation of this hip, internal rotation of this hip, whilst generating and putting power through the body. So I can come up onto the toes, loading again, and back into a transverse movement. So here, and back. And we'd obviously do that both ways as well. So we can take a normal exercise, like the medicine ball slam, and make it functional. We can use it to start loading these fascial systems. We can use it to start generating power through our joints and checking that our joints are correctly stacked. We can come down into the squat. So we're loading, obviously just goes as you're comfortable. Then we can come up and we can slam. So we can come down to a squat. We can come up, we can slam. Squat, up, slam. So we can make it functional. We can come down, we can roll our back so we can roll, we can come back, we can come up and we can slam. So we're down. So we can just take one exercise, we can tweak it in a few different directions, a few different planes of motion, and make it as functional as possible. So that's the medicine ball slam, with just a few little variations on how to tweak it. Thank you.